For thousands of years, there's one animal that has captured our imagination like nothing else: the elephant. It's this incredible symbol of strength, wisdom, and loyalty in so many cultures. But why? Today, we're going to dig into how ancient myths and modern science are telling a surprisingly similar story about these amazing gentle giants. Okay, let's just dive right in. In Hindu tradition, this is not just any old elephant. This is Airavata, the divine ride for the god Indra. I mean, look at him. He's basically the king of all elephants, decked out for the heavens. And this deep, deep reverence, it goes way beyond just being a cool ride for the gods. So let's start in the world of myth. Because in these ancient stories, elephants aren't just animals. No way. They are these foundational beings who are literally holding the world together and connecting the heavens right down to the earth. Airavata is probably the most famous of all these mythological elephants. He's described as this pristine, pure white, and he's got this awesome nickname, the Elephant of the Clouds. And that nickname is just perfect, right? Because the myth says these divine elephants could actually create clouds and bring rain. That directly links them to prosperity, to life itself. And what's really fascinating is that there isn't just one single origin story for Airavata. In some ancient texts, he's born to a celestial being. In others, he literally emerges from the cosmic churning of the ocean. And that's not a contradiction. It actually tells you just how important this figure was. I mean, when a being is that significant, different traditions all want to claim their own epic origin for him. And hey, it wasn't just Airavata. Hindu cosmology talks about the Ashta Digagashas, 8 divine elephants who stand at all 8 points of the compass, basically guarding and protecting the entire world. It's even said that when one of them just moves, it causes an earthquake. So think about that. They are, quite literally, the pillars holding up the world. And of course, all this reverence for the elephant's power and its wisdom, it all comes together in perhaps the most beloved, most recognizable elephant-headed figure in the entire world, Lord Ganesh. His image is this perfect fusion of divine wisdom and the nature of the elephant itself. You see, Ganesh is worshipped as the remover of obstacles. Before you start anything new, a business, a big trip, even moving into a new home, many will pray to him, asking for a clear path forward. This role as a problem solver, it's absolutely central to who he is. And what's so cool is that every single part of his form has this deep meaning. That big elephant head, well, that signifies immense power and strength. And his one broken tusk, that represents the wisdom to know what's good and what's bad, to keep what's valuable in your life and to let go of what isn't. It's all about wise sacrifice. So all of this just begs this fascinating question. Were these just beautiful stories? Or were our ancestors actually observing real traits in elephants? Their wisdom, their empathy, their strength, and then just elevating those traits into the divine? Well, let's see what modern science has to say about it. Okay, so now we're jumping from the world of myth into the world of biology and animal behavior. And here, researchers are discovering that the inner lives of elephants are every bit as massive and complex as their physical bodies. It turns out, the ancient myths might have been more right than we ever imagined. Now, that is a bold statement, but it's backed up by some incredible evidence. Elephants show behaviors that strongly suggest they are deeply in tune with each other's feelings. And scientists think this comes from the complex way their brains are built, especially in parts of the brain that are a lot like our own. I mean, their capacity for what we can only really describe as grief is just powerfully shown in accounts like this one. This poor little calf, unable to leave its mother's side, it's just heartbreaking. And this isn't a one-off thing. Elephants are often seen visiting the bones of their dead, just standing there silently with them. For this little one, the loss of its mother was a fatal blow. And get this, their emotional depth is so real that young elephants who've witnessed terrible trauma, like poachers attacking their families, have actually been observed waking up screaming in the night. It's just like a human child suffering from a nightmare. It is a chilling reminder of just how sentient they are. Their intelligence is right up there with apes and dolphins. They're one of the very few species that can actually recognize themselves in a mirror. That's a classic sign of self-awareness. They use tools, they remember migration routes for decades, and they can recognize the calls of family members they haven't seen in over 12 years. That old saying, an elephant never forgets? Yeah, it's absolutely true. So here's where it all comes together. What happens when you place these two worlds, the ancient myths and modern science, right next to each other? Well, you find this incredible overlap. The qualities that were revered in the myths are the very same qualities being documented by scientists today. Let's just take wisdom. Lord Ganesh is worshipped as the remover of obstacles. So what do we see in the wild? We see elephants using their intelligence, their imagination to solve really complex problems, and to literally remove physical obstacles. For instance, there are accounts of elephants strategically blocking a new road by breaking off branches and dragging them right into the path. And what about loyalty? Well, you have Airavata, the devoted, loyal mount to the god Indra, a symbol of unwavering support. And then you look at the real world, and you see that elephants form some of the strongest social bonds in the entire animal kingdom. They are fiercely protective of their young and their elders, and they work together as this incredibly tight-knit, loyal unit. So it's this perfect blend of traits you can actually see, and this powerful symbolism that explains why the elephant became more than just an animal. It became a teacher, a perfect way to pass on wisdom through folklore and stories. A perfect example of this is the Panchatantra. It's this ancient collection of Indian fables, but these aren't just stories for kids. They're actually really sophisticated lessons in something called niti, which is basically the art of living intelligently and ethically. And they use animal characters to explore very human problems. Take the famous tale of the thirsty crow. The problem seems impossible, right? But through cleverness and persistence, through problem solving, the crow finds a solution. The animals in these stories were chosen for their symbolic traits, and the kind of ingenuity we see here is precisely the kind of problem-solving wisdom that those ancient storytellers saw in elephants. So that's where we're left, right here at the intersection of ancient reverence and modern understanding. The myths gave us gods who embodied wisdom and loyalty, and now science has revealed a real-life creature capable of grief, empathy, and really complex thought. Knowing this, knowing the sheer depth of their inner lives, the final question isn't about the past, it's about our future. How does this profound knowledge change our responsibility to protect them?